Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. Let's start off with Zende and Paris. So, Zende's met to work on one of the models trying to finish some sort of fitting. And the model asks, Zende out named Sequoia. And at first, Zende's kind of hesitant. But then he sits there and thinks about the conversation they had with Paris about the whole young and single and free and blah, 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 blah. So he's like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. Um, right around that time, Paris walks in, and Sequoia leaves, and Paris like, so if I heard correctly, you're going on a date with Sequoia, and I'm like, I'm sorry, does that bother you? Because you were all like, oh, but I don't want to be tied down, this, that, and the third, and it almost sounds like you're jealous. So after she realizes just well how stupid she sounds. She's like, yeah, you're right. I don't want anything serious, but I can't sit there and, keep you all to myself. Um, you know, Zende's like, yo, are you sure? Like, you sure that, like, you're cool with this? I'm like, bro, what the hell are you supposed to asking her? Like, almost sounds like you're asking her permission. The woman who literally said that y'all two are apparently single, you want to ask her? mm. Because the other thing is that I'm just not there wondering, like, what do these men actually see in Paris? Yeah, okay, she has looks. I give her that. She has a nice body. But besides that, it's like the girl is a flake. Like, she just comes across and she just sounds so. Ugh. Um. Anyway, he still sits there and says that he's committed to her, and he does see a future with her down the line or whatever, as far as making her his wife, because some odd reason that actually still makes sense to him. 1 second. So, with that being said, he winds up leaving, and at some point, Carter finished with his meeting with Ridge and some other guy that I can't remember his name. But they was sitting there bugging him about trying to come out and hang out or whatever with the guys, and go to some clubs or whatever and pick up some women. And Carter was kind of hesitant about it, and the guy was like, "Yo, you seeing someone?" And he was like, "I'm not seeing no one." So the guy leaves, and Ridge is like, "Are you seeing someone?" Um, and he's like, "No." Then he starts asking about Quinn and are you still into her and yada yada yada. And Carter's like, "Listen, I'm done with that. I'm trying to be the person that you once respected, pretty much." Um, and pretty much what Ridge said, Ridge was like, "Listen, if you want to continue being that person, stop getting involved with women that are already involved with someone else." It's so weird. I feel like it's deja vu. Um, but yeah, he was like, "Yo, stop sniffing, being with women that are spoken for." So at some point, Carter goes and finds Paris. They start talking, and Paris is like, she's sitting there telling him about Zende and how technically she feels some sort of way about it, but at the same time, she doesn't want to be a hypocrite, more or less. Then she starts talking about I can't sit there and get over that kiss or whatever. We've been friends for a while, but then things changed. Ever since we had that kiss or whatever. And I'm like, and when are you gonna actually like have a talk about it and decide on what you want to do with it? Like, are you just gonna sit there and keep lying to his face, like Zende's face? Are you gonna sit there and try to go out together? Like, what are you doing? Um, and once again, they don't really get into it. So it's something that just kind of pissed me off a little bit. I mean, hell, I think they were talking before, and it didn't even bother us to then bring up that kiss. So it's almost like, all right, so we just not gonna talk about it. And in this episode, oh yeah, that kiss. Okay, yeah, really? So So Taylor comes over to Brooke's place to, because she's worried about her and she wants to then offer her help. And at some point, she's not there talking to her about like whatever she's going through, and she's like, "I'm a trained profession, this, that, and the third." And I'm like, "Listen, I get your heart might be in the right place, but no one likes to sit there and be psychoanalyzed. No one, especially if she didn't even sit there and say, 'Yeah, okay, cool, let's sit there and talk.'" She's just like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. I got a support system. Like I have family and stuff like that. I'm good." And she's like, "Well, I'm here to help and stuff." And I don't know, like part of me just felt like I don't want to sit there and say that she came across as phony because maybe that's either her acting or just her character. Um, and I would like to sit there and believe that she did come from a place of, I want to sit there and say, yeah, I guess I would sit there and say love or whatever. Not like they love each other, but you know what I mean. Like her heart is in the right place, but it's just one of those things where it's like, yo, we don't normally like each other, and I get that, wishing that they're trying to be friends, but I'm kind of going through something and you're coming over here talking about, well, listen, I'm a trained professional. It's like, yeah, and this is LA. You're like a dime a dozen. If I wanted help, I would, go to pretty much anyone else. So, like, you can go now, pretty much. That's pretty much the vibe, more or less. She didn't really want to then open up, and I mean, she just wasn't ready to open up to her. And well, let's be honest, um, it, she's not going to sit there and tell her why she was drinking. So it was kind of a moot conversation. And then Rich comes in, and at some point, Taylor leaves. And once again, Brooke says the same thing. I don't know what happened. I don't know what caused me to drink. I disappointed myself, and blah, 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 blah. And it's just the same song and dance. And I think Rich was saying something positive. Well, I'm going to be honest. I just kind of I didn't want to say I tuned out, but I was like, yep, Yep, they still playing this man like Boo Boo the Fool. Okay, well, I guess maybe at some point in the next 2 weeks or month and a half, he may find out the truth. And at that point, he's definitely going to want to sit there and kick her, tell her to kick rocks. But between that and Deacon, I feel like she's going to slip up. Now, Sheila does what Sheila normally does, monologue like a DC villain. I wonder what happened. Did you slip up, Brooke? Is that what happened? Did you have a little drinky drink? See, this is what you should have, you shouldn't have sat there and try to get in my way and threaten me and blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, my goodness. You just get, like, for me, it's just when I'm sitting there watching, I'm just like, mm-hmm. Yep. When it comes to a Sheila, all I gotta sit there and put in my notes is monologuing, monologuing Brooke. All right, and just I'm like, all right, yeah. But at some point, she does go to Taylor's office, and Taylor's like, I could have swore we had this conversation about you, not dropping in. And Sheila's all like, but I knocked on the door. Okay, Sheila. So what is it that you want now? And watching this scene, watching Sheila try to manipulate a so-called world famous psychiatrist help, she does all this stuff or whatever. I'm just like, either this isn't gonna work, because what she's trying to do is she goes in there and she's like, well, you just came back and you've been doing all this good work, and now you got to sit there and get stopped by Brooke. It must be really terrible. You can't really spend that much time with Ridge because of Brooke, this, that, and the third. Aren't you mad at Brooke? Like she's trying to light a fire to sit there and get, you know, um, Taylor to dislike Brooke. But I'm sitting there thinking either this can go two ways. One, Taylor, you're a psychiatrist, you are a trained profession, psychiatrist or psychologist, whatever. You should be able to spot right through this and tell her to kick rocks. And also basically sit there and say, you're not gonna have you're not gonna have any access to your grandson. or my family pretty much like just cut her off at that point. Because, you know, Taylor's idea was to be able to keep an eye on Sheila, to sit there and see if she's gonna slip up or not. My goodness, that's how dark it was. To see if she's gonna slip up or not. But I'm like, yo, she's came over to your place twice, and now she's trying to get you to, she's trying to goad you into going after Brooke. So I'm like, either A, you should curl her out, or two, you should probably not practice um, you know, psychiatry ever again, because if this chick is able to sit there and manipulate you, then well, feel bad for your patients at that point. Anyway, for the most part, I feel like that's about it. I gotta sit there and say that this show has some very devoted fans. And I don't mean like fans from like the 80s. I mean like, fans that have been watching the show for such a long time and still watch this show. Um, I feel like in a lot of ways that, because it's a half an hour show, they should be they're trying to put as much suspense into it as possible, you know? But a lot of times it's like, I feel like I'm not getting enough. And I know it's only like 19 minutes, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, how did you get the amount of fans that you guys have? I just, I don't know. This show and Y&R, I feel like to some extent it kind of operates on that same level. It's like when things do go down, it's like, oh man, I gotta be on for this one. I gotta DVR this one. I gotta watch this on my lunch break. When stuff happens, but when it's just like a typical Tuesday and you're watching this and nothing changes between Brooke and Ridge, Paris and Carter don't get to sit there and talk about the kiss. They don't sit there and decide on what they're gonna do with it. They don't even sit there and make a plan. They just sit there and say the kiss, and then that's it. It's like you're not even giving me suspense because you didn't even sit there and start off some of this stuff that would be like, all right, cool. So what's gonna happen next? Oh man, I can't wait for tomorrow, or I can't wait for Monday. You didn't give me that. Uh, I don't know. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.